You bring something up because you want to understand what happened. You're trying to have a real conversation, but by the end of the argument, you feel mentally exhausted, and you may not feel any closer to resolution. You're trying to remember what you were originally trying to say. Something about the conversation has already shifted. Now you're explaining yourself, defending your intentions, and responding to things you are not trying to discuss. You may feel mentally scrambled. You may recognize the moment when your concern is no longer the focus. Some people describe this as a narcissistic communication pattern when it happens repeatedly. Not because every disagreement is narcissistic, but because the interaction begins to organize around one person's perspective while the other person's experience starts to lose space. What this often does is shift the conversation from the issue you raised to the reaction they are having to it. If your concern is fully explored, clarity increases. If the focus keeps changing, clarity never fully forms. So the conversation starts to move. First you raise a concern, then the interaction shifts. Attention moves somewhere else. Your concern loses space, and the conversation ends without real resolution. That is why you feel drained after every argument. Not because your point was weak, but because you spent your energy trying to follow a conversation that kept changing shape. Anyone can feel exhausted in a conversation that keeps moving. Many people respond to this by trying harder, explaining more, or speaking faster just to be understood. But more effort does not always create more understanding when the conversation keeps shifting away from the original issue. In healthy conflict, the goal is understanding the issue, not defeating the person who raised it. Healthy conversations stay with the concern long enough to create clarity. You leave with more understanding, not more exhaustion. Feeling drained afterward can be information, not failure. Recognizing this can bring clarity, because it helps explain why the conversation leaves you depleted instead of resolved. If this helped put words to your experience, like the video and subscribe to the channel. This channel exists to help you recognize narcissistic and manipulative patterns calmly, clearly, and without blame, so you can understand what's happening and trust yourself again. And when conversations unfold this way, another pattern often begins to form. In the next video, we're going to explain why you replay arguments in your head and how that pattern keeps the conversation from fully settling afterward. Click here to watch.